Microdose, yeah. Microdose, 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 dose. Microdose, microdose, dose. Microdose, microdose, dose.
What's good, y'all? Kush Hayes here, coming to you. Oh my God! Special Oscar reaction edition of the Microdose. This is one of my favoriteest reoccurring segments on the Microdose. Of all 5 years I've been doing this, whether it's been a Kush and Kai Microdose or just Microdose Volume 2, this is a fun time of year. You guys know I love movies. I love talking about movies. The award show itself, the Academy Awards, 95th anniversary this year. The presentation itself can be somewhat bothersome, but the conversation leading into it and the conversation afterward, like I ate it up like a fat kid on cake. So bring it in, funniest man in the room, Drew Angelman. Drew, what's good, yo? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. I'm very excited to talk about Oscar talk. As someone, I think you put it perfectly, because as someone who likes movies, I like just the discussion of movies and getting a broader like conversation around. I'm not too much into these awards or like seeing who like I like to see who wins, but I'm not super into like goo goo gaga over the Oscar talk. But I do like when everybody else is getting into it. It's kind of like I don't know, like the Super Bowl. I'm really into like football and basketball. So this is like the major sporting event of like movies that I get into, and like seeing like the front runners come in. I think it's interesting. It's very interesting to be in the talks.
That's a great point. Like I'm not a football fan, but I like seeing the biggest show of the year. My San Francisco 49ers are currently on their way to the Super Bowl. Right now, the only thing standing in between them is the Philadelphia Eagles. That's as much as I know. Also, there's this new kid named Brock Purdy. Everyone thinks he's God. He's only been doing this for like 6 weeks. Oh, he only needs to have one bad game, and then everyone's going to hate him again or just not acknowledge him. And that's always been ironic to me. But yeah, man, the Super Bowl, WrestleMania, the Academy Awards. Let's just get into it. So, folks, we're not going to talk about every goddamn category in this because there are just so many. So we're talking about Best Actress Supporting, Best Actor Supporting, Best Actor and Actress, Best Directing, Best Picture, and we got a long list here. So the Best Actress in a Supporting Role, that was just announced this previous Tuesday. So Angela Bassett in Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Hong Chow in The Whale, Carrie Condon in The Banshees of Inisherin, Jamie Lee Curtis in Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Stephanie Hugh in Everything Everywhere All at Once. I'm not sure if it's Hugh or Sue or there's a silent H, kids. It's been a while since I spoke Chinese. But of these 5 actresses, do you think anyone's missing first?
I don't necessarily think anybody is missing off the top of my head.
And by the way, neither of us have seen everything yet. But just to get that out there.
Well, we've seen Everything Everywhere All at Once. Just not all the nominated movies.
Touche.
Yeah.
Touche.
I haven't seen The Whale or Banshees of Inisherin, but they're on my list. I definitely will be watching them very, very soon. It's kind of like, so one year I watched like 200 movies, and come to find out, I only watched like 2 or 3 Oscar movies that were nominated for Oscars, or movies that were not. And it's like, what? I'm going to wait until they're nominated. And if it gets really good buzz moving forward, I will watch them beforehand. But I really like everybody on this list. From what I've heard of The Whale, it's very powerful acting throughout the whole thing, and I heard a lot of people who have seen The Whale and some reactions from other people like on YouTube and stuff that they really are liking a lot of who was named. I think one person that I think sticks out to a lot of people is Stephanie from Everything Everywhere All at Once. I personally liked her performance, but if there was a snub, I'm willing to hear it out and see what other people are thinking.
Of everybody on this list, the only movie I haven't seen is The Whale. Now, The Whale seems to be... you get one of two reactions. I fucking loved it. I haven't seen it. And
Mhm.
it's one of those things where it is just playing down the street for me. I don't know why I haven't gone out of my way to see it. I think it's one of those things where it's just like, this can't be as great as everyone is saying it is. That's just maybe the cynic in me. I'm not sure, but of these of these five women, Angela Bassett seems to be the front runner for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. And while she's never been bad at anything, like, I don't think she holds a candle to Jamie Lee Curtis in this film, and that's my pick for this. I just saw the Banshees of Inisherin tonight, and Carrie Condon, she's there. I don't know what else she's been in. She's got an Irish accent. She has purpose, but yeah, it's right now. I'm just going on what I believe, and it's just an opinion. Jamie Lee Curtis should win the Best Actress in a supporting role, and maybe that'll change in 5 weeks. I don't know.
It could. I think Angela Bassett for the how big of a movie it is and everything that
Mhm.
it deals with in the movie, I can see her just like easily taking this. I wouldn't mind it if Jamie Lee Curtis would, but
Mhm.
even though Everything Everywhere All at Once is unique and kind of like the
Sure.
Oscar darling of this season, I just feel like it's
11
so
nominees.
weird that it won't get as much as people might like it. Like I think
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. To me, it's like the Parasite of this season, where it was like really
Mhm.
the audience loved it, but nobody knew what to expect when it came down to Oscar time. But I just don't think it's gonna do what Parasite did, in my opinion. But well, again, this is a lot of like nudging back and forth. People have to watch the movies. Some people don't even watch the movies when they're voting, so
Right.
you never
And
know.
that is the biggest problem with the Oscars, whereas like it might be even more than this, but there's over 5,000 voting members of the Oscars, and they all do
Dang.
everything. Like we're talking about like the way you get to become a member of the Academy is like, one, you get nominated for your movie, but then like you have to have like won also, and then like I don't know, everyone else like has to have like worked X number of hours and apply. It gets super complicated, but like over 5,000 members versus the Golden Globes from 2 weeks ago, which only has like less than 80, and those are just literally the foreign press members of Hollywood.
Hmm.
So it's definitely it's a wider field, and it could go any way here. So up next is a Best Actor in a Supporting Role. So we got Brendan Gleeson for The Banshees of Inisherin, Brian Tyree Henry in Causeway. I don't even know what that is. I know the actor. I don't know what that movie is. Judd Hirsch in The Fablemans, who's in the movie for maybe all of 9 minutes. Uh, Barry Keoghan in The Banshees of Inisherin, and then Ki Hu Kwan, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Again, Ki Hu Kwan is like Pac-Man, just gobbling up all the power bits right now, man. Like he is steamrolling through award season right now. It's not a contest for how many trophies you collect, but he's getting them all.
Which can be a telltale sign of where people like are feeling about his performance, and I think he deserves it. I mean, it was really cool
Mm.
because when Oscars stuff comes out, that actors roundtable, the directors roundtable, actress roundtable all comes out on the Hollywood Reporter YouTube
Ah,
channel.
I love those
It
episodes.
it's one of my favorite, and I just sat there for one day watching the director, the actress, and the actors just talking about their movies and how they came up with them, and then them talking about all their movies. And I just love Ki Hu Kwan, and I think he deserves it. I think he put on a great performance. Again, I haven't seen Causeway, which is an Apple Plus TV movie, I believe, or at least you can
Okay,
watch it on there. It has
dig it.
Jennifer Lawrence and
Hmm.
Brian Tyree Henry, which is awesome. I wish I had Apple Plus TV still. I just watched The
Hmm.
Fablemans, so I thought that was really, really good. And I still have to watch The Banshees, but everything, everywhere, all at once, I've seen twice in theaters. I
Oh
almost
wow,
watched it again at home. So to me, I think he should win it.
Ki Kwan. Oh, you know what? I have to agree with you. The only movie I have not seen on this list is In Causeway. I don't know what that is. Brian Tyree Henry is becoming an amazing character actor. He should be a leading
Hmm.
man, I think, but I think he's just like I like where I am right now. I'm just gonna soak up all this time, just master the craft, and be a better leading actor when it's my time. But Ke Huy Quan, I think, is also gonna take this award again. I'm looking like Brendan Gleeson in The Banshees of Inisherin, which I just saw like a couple hours ago. It's fine. It's dramatic, but it's just like this character is just full of early 20th century nonsense, and I just don't care. Jed Hirsch, like I said, less than 10 minutes of the movie he's in. I don't know how he got this nomination. Barry Keoghan, he is good at playing weird characters. You know, he's been in a bunch of different stuff now. Like I want to say he was in the Batman. I want to say he's been in a bunch of different shit. Oh, he was in the Eternals, obviously.
Yeah.
He gives a good performance, but and he's just weird enough looking. You're like, oh, like you want to see where this guy's taking this. But Ke Huy Quan, which kind of irks me because I think there were better supporting roles out there, but I couldn't tell you one off the top of my head. My favorite thing about Everything Everywhere All at Once with Ke Huy Quan is that one multiverse where they're just successful and he's for whatever reason wearing a tuxedo, smoking a cigarette, and just hanging out in a back alley, and then like just with Michelle Yeoh just happens to walk by and they're talking about like, yeah, this is our life here, but our life is terrible somewhere else. And it was just like, you smooth looking motherfucker, like why is this your best world? This is the movie I want to see. I don't want to see you being some schmuck running a laundromat. I want to see you being this guy. That's just my opinion. I don't know.
I mean, everybody needs a Wayman, and I think Wayman deserves an Oscar.
There it is. All right. You heard it here first. Best actress in a leading role. So we got Kate Blanchett in Tar, Ana de Armas in Blonde, Andrea Riseborough in To Leslie. I don't know what that is. Michelle Williams in The Fableman, and Michelle Yeoh in Everything Everywhere All at Once. Now, I'm not a big fan of snubs. I think the list is what it is. But if I was going to substitute anyone with this list for one other person, it would be Danielle Deadwyler for Till. That actress plays a woman who is dealing with the worst kind of grief. Like, I don't know if you got the chance to see Till. I don't think many people did. It's a subject that a lot of people are still uncomfortable with, but it is very still. While it was only 70 years ago, Drew, that wasn't a long time ago, dude. And while it doesn't play like a horror movie, I think it was the best horror movie we had all of 2022. Like, just imagine you're in a land not too familiar with, like 100 miles away from your home, and all of a sudden people just break in and take you away for the crime of whistling at a woman, and then you're just brutally murdered. And then there's a whole movie after that. Like, yeah, this woman goes through pain. Danielle Deadwyler should have absolutely been nominated for this. But before I make my pick, who do you think is going to win the best actress? Should someone else have been on this list?
Well, I think you're spot on with who should have been on here, because I haven't seen all of Till yet, but I watched the actors roundtable and she was on it and she was incredible. Like, when she was talking to everybody, I was like, okay, well, she's going to be nominated. I can't wait to watch her movie. And it's been one that's on my list. I'm actually really surprised. So this is the first year I watched live the announcements.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine.
That's an early call.
It actually wasn't when I was in the I woke up and I just clicked on and it was still going, and I clicked on it and it was getting right through the good parts. It was past cinematography and we were getting into the good meat of it. So I was like, cool. And I just remember hearing the crowd's reaction to Andrea Riseborough for To Leslie, and it was this weird shock and surprise sound, but still trying to be like, yeah, okay. Like that nomination came out of nowhere. I feel I've never even heard of To Leslie, which to me, I'm just going to go off on a little bit right here, because when looking at some of these movies or hearing about some of these movies, I want to say that I'm pretty like on the pulse of movie talk. Like I've tried to key into the movie. I maybe not so much now that the podcast I used to run with a couple of guys kind of absolved late last year, but it wasn't like we stopped doing it January of last year. We did it until like September of last year, October of last year. So we went through a whole year. But there were some movies on this that were nominated that I was like, this is the first time I feel like in Oscar history for me covering movies that there were some movies where I was like, what the heck is that? I've never even heard of that movie, which is shocking to me. But I was surprised about Andrea Riseborough. I was kind of shocked about Ana de Armas here for
Same.
Blonde. Kind of out of left field. I get it. It was a long runtime movie about Marilyn Monroe. I didn't watch all of it. That's how much I liked it. I didn't watch all of it. I watched somebody's take on it, and I thought she did fine for what the material was. But to know who was snubbed and the two people that we got on here that I felt could have been other people that were probably well more deserving of this nomination is, I don't know, kind of this one I think was the most contested for me when taking a look at the nominees. I watched The Fabelmans recently. I really enjoyed it, but I don't think Michelle Williams did enough to win it. I think it's either going to be Cate Blanchett. Haven't watched Tar, but I think Cate Blanchett is going to be the leader. I would love to see Michelle Yeoh win it though, but that's a fever dream, I think.
So we have a lot of similarities. So I don't know what To Leslie is. I have to search that out here. Tar, I did not see, but the one time I was at the Regal, and again, I go once a week, kids. I only saw one trailer for Tar, and I went, "This thing looks amazing." I don't know what it is, but I want to see it. And then I don't even know if it made it to my theater. So I need to search that out. Maybe it's a rental. I don't know.
It's on Prime.
It's on Prime now? Excellent.
Yeah, you can rent it on Prime. It's not like on a streaming service yet.
I'll make it work. Ana de Armas, again, I didn't have as many problems with Blonde as everyone else did. It's quite long, but for as long as it was and as much as it wasn't covered, I was like, this could have been a mini series or whatever. You know, it's always one of those things. Like, this should have been 90 minutes or it should be 18 hours. There's a great scene in Blonde where she's in the middle of a three-way, and then as she orgasms, she's just draped over the bed, but then the bed turns into a waterfall. And I was like, this is the sickest scene I've ever seen in a movie. Like, it's fantastic transition. Other than that, well, I think Danielle Del Wilder should have been on this list. Much like you, I believe Michelle Yeoh, if she isn't going to take it, I think she should take it. Maybe I'm just a Michelle Yeoh fan. I actually got a chance to see her at the Castro Theater through the SF Film Foundation just a few months ago. That was wild. It was a weird thing too, Drew. Like, they advertised like, we're gonna play Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. We're also gonna have Michelle Yeoh in the house with Sandra Oh doing a Q&A. And I was like, $30? I'll see that. And I'm thinking like, they're gonna do a 20-minute Q&A. This is what this movie was like to work on. This is what wires are like. I twisted my ankle on this day. And then we're going to play the movie. No, I actually got an hour of Michelle Yeoh. They fucked around on stage. It was fine. They both had a little too much champagne. I'm not mad at that. But then the movie didn't play, and I was like, wait a minute. I think I just been robbed here. Hold on. But if I knew this was what was going to happen, I would have sat way closer because I thought I was going to be here for like 4 hours. But anyway.
Yeah.
Best actor in a leading role. So we got Austin Butler in Elvis, Colin Farrell in The Banshees of Inisherin, Brendan Fraser, who is like, I think he's leading this one by a mile with The Whale, Paul Mescal in After Sun. I don't know what that is. And Bill Nye in Living. I don't know what that is either. 3 of those movies I have not seen.
4 movies I have not seen, sadly. I've only seen Elvis, and from seeing Elvis, I know that Austin Butler should not win. I mean, he did a decent job, but to me, I think Elvis is going to be like Cruella, where they win all the costumes and kind of
editing stuff.
Yeah. I just don't think it was. Yeah, exactly. It was definitely pretty. It was definitely really well put together for what it was, but I just don't think he did enough. I think Brendan Fraser is going to take this like super easily. I mean, I haven't watched the movie, but the like I said with the actors roundtable, everybody had something to say about his performance. He had something to say about his performance. I even went from there to watch him and Adam Sandler talk to each
Oh,
other about
so
acting, where Brendan Fraser was just talking about his performance on The Whale. And I think that's one I'm definitely waiting to see if it'll come to like early access on Prime so I can like rent it for even 19.99. It's one of those movies I'm nervous to see it in the theaters because I think I'm just going to be like a mess by the end of it. I just don't
okay.
think I'm going to be able to hold myself together with what the subject is. So, but
Okay.
I just think with his story, his own personal story of Brendan Fraser, and then him coming back in this kind of role and just absolutely crushing it and having this impact like he is, and what everybody else is saying about it, I just think that it's going to be his to lose. I think he's already won it, and he just needs to stay on the grind to make sure he keeps it going.
I'm very interested on the fact that you said like based on his story, and you're talking about Brendan Fraser's story, not the character he's playing. I also think Brendan Fraser is going to take this based on just how everything has been going, how the word of mouth has been. Brendan Fraser went from one meme of the most ridiculous person in the world, and that's because one night at the Golden Globes, he had too much champagne and did this goofy ass clap at someone's joke. I don't even know whose joke it was. And I love that meme because it's just like it looks like he almost falls out of screen. But now it's weird for me even to phrase it this way, but he's become like America's favorite victim. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll be. I'm not trying to make a thing. I'm not trying to be political. I'm not trying to naysay him or whatever. But like something happened to him at like a Hollywood party, should not have happened to him. But when that news broke, and I think he just went like, yeah, this thing happened to me at a party 10 years ago. Like all of a sudden, everybody went like, Brendan Fraser must be protected at all costs. I was like, no, he's a grown adult. It seems to have only
Mm-hmm.
happened once. It should not have happened at all. Also, while everyone thinks he hasn't done anything since The Mummy Part 3, and there was an injury on that set for him. Like he was always
Mm-hmm.
he's into his movies. He tried to do a stunt, it went wrong, got injured, but he's been working consistently. So when we talk about Brendan Fraser's comeback, I am so confused because like he's been working. He's been working every year since the Mummy Part 3. It's all there on the IMDb. I still need to see The Whale, but the way everything is going, yes, I think Brendan Fraser is going to take this. Colin Farrell, he's not bad in anything, but he should have been nominated for anything else. But yeah, the Banshees of Inisherin is it's only okay in my opinion.
Okay.
But I think there's a huge distance. I think Fraser's going to take this one though.
I
So
think I would push back a little bit on the Brendan Fraser comeback. I think it's come back to relevancy. You say
interesting.
that he's
Okay.
been working. I think it's he's back in the movies that people are talking about and wanting to see and have something to
Mm-hmm.
say about it. Because I think the main point is that if a lot of people are saying, "Oh, Brendan Fraser is on a comeback," but yet he's still been working, where have all
Mm-hmm.
those movies gone is the same kind of thought. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's just the idea that he feels good enough to be in a project to where he is acting his tail off and people are noticing it now instead of it being kind of something that maybe is kind of scrolled away on a Netflix app or a different streaming service. So um but yeah, that's where I would say with the Brendan
I,
Fraser
I definitely hear what
talk.
you're saying, and I appreciate that
Mhm.
perspective. But and I don't necessarily know how old or young you are, Drew Angelman, but like, so this I'm comparing this to the John Travolta syndrome. So in
Mhm.
1990, John Travolta made a movie called Look Who's Talking, where him and Kirstie Alley are working with a
Yeah.
talking baby voiced by Bruce Willis, and it was like John Travolta's back, yo, and he is funnier than ever. And even at the tender age of 10 or 11, I was like, I just saw him in like three movies over the past 2 years. Like, what do you mean he's coming back? Then Luke Who's Talking 2 came out, and then in 1993, John Travolta's back with Pulp Fiction. I was like, no, hey, like he's still the same dude. Like he hasn't gone anywhere. He's been consistently working because of Look Who's Talking. Maybe made some bullshit, but he wasn't the worst part of any of that. Is what I'm saying. So yeah, but I appreciate your perspective there. That's the thing I haven't looked at. Like, okay, yeah, this is we now want to see him in a movie, but there was a time when people still didn't want to see Brendan Fraser. Like he was still Encino Man. He was still George of the Jungle. But like he also did School Ties. He's also been to the Academy Awards previously for a movie. Well, I didn't see it. It was called Gods and Monsters. That was one of those L.A. We love L.A. movies. I forget who was in it. The guy who played Magneto.
Oh, Ian McKellen?
Yes. Him and Ian McKellen made a movie where there's some subtle gay overtones. And they're like, Brendan Fraser's amazing this year. And so just all I'm saying is Brendan Fraser hasn't gone anywhere. You just haven't been seeing anything he's been in. That's all I'm saying.
That is true. And I mean, that's sad because I watched 200 movies one year, and I can tell you I watched 0 Brendan Fraser movies that year.
He also might have been just doing some TV that year, but still. We're here at Best Director. So, Best Director is Martin McDonagh for The Banshees of Inisherin. Daniel Kwan and Daniel Schnert. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Steven Spielberg for The Fabelmans. Todd Field for Tar. Ruben Ostlund for Triangle of Sadness. The only 2 movies on there I haven't seen is Tar and The Triangle of Sadness.
I think even without seeing all the nominees so far, I think that this is like golden for Steven Spielberg. Like this is set up for Steven Spielberg to win. Okay. He's already this like mainstream director that everybody knows. He's legendary, but this is him directing his own like childhood. And my thing is, I thought The Fabelmans was really good. It was one of the close to 2-hour movies that I went to go see this in theaters and was like really, really expecting a lot and still getting a lot out of it. It almost reminded me of Belfast last year. Yes. I really enjoyed Belfast. To me, I was like, I left that movie going, that told me something, and that felt good. And I think that was also, what's his name? Who wrote it / directed it?
Mr. Shakespeare, Kenneth Branagh.
Yes, I can't believe I forgot that. I think I was trying to blank out his name because he also did Death on the Nile last year, and I did not like Death on the Nile as much. I know that was like a kind of from his childhood and his backstory or something that happened where he was growing up, and I just felt that sincere touch, that authenticity to that movie, to where I felt the same thing in The Fabelman, and I just thought that was a really good movie. I think Steven Spielberg was nominated for West Side Story, which I'm glad he didn't win for, because I just didn't care for that remake. But I thought The Fabelmans was really good, well directed, and I think that this is Steven Spielberg's for the taking. And I think it's well set up for him to have this, like, I mean, not to say comeback, but to have a comeback in a way that is like back to notoriety after doing like The Post and some other movies where people were like questioning, does Steven Spielberg still have it? You know, I think I've read some articles throughout the years where it's like maybe Spielberg just doesn't have it like he used to, or he's not picking the right kind of projects. And I think he made this project. I mean, him, and I can't remember the guy who helped with the writing of it, because he was on the writers roundtable or the actors roundtable, writers roundtable, because Jordan Peele was on there as well. But I just thought that Steven Spielberg this is his. I just think I just have that strong feeling like this is set up for him to have it.
Steven Spielberg also won the Golden Globe for the Best Director for The Fabelmans this year. And I don't know where my sour grapes are coming from. My Schadenfreude, Drew Angelman. But when they announced Steven Spielberg for The Fabelmans over James Cameron's Avatar, I cackled like a bastard. Because he's just like, I've been working on this for 13 years. It's a lock. Like, this may be not the most important word, but why wouldn't they give it to me? And it's like, because it's not a good movie, sir. It's okay. It's very pretty, but it looks like a video game. And meanwhile, Steven was like, "Yeah, I just told this story about one time Seth Rogen cucked my dad, and there we go. Yeah, I'm gonna." Meanwhile, the voiceover on the prompter is going like, "This is Steven Spielberg's 9th Golden Globe win." I'm just like, James Cameron, you could have made like 4 movies in the time that it took you to make this movie. We're gonna get more into Avatar in a minute here. I don't have the Fablemans as winning this. My knee jerk reaction is the Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once is going to win this. Like,
Okay.
again, I saw the Banshees of Inisherin today, and by the way, I'm disappointed it's not based on a role playing game about Japanese feudalistic society and samurais. Like, I know Banshees is an Irish thing, but Inisherin sounds like a huge Japanese thing to me. So wildly misled. Anyways, yeah, I still haven't seen Tar. Triangle of Sadness, I only heard bad things about. And while I didn't hear many things about it, they were all negative. It was one of those things that came out right around the menu. And I was like, oh, Woody Harrelson's in this. This should be funny. I would like to go see that. And then it just didn't happen. And when I started seeing the negative reviews, I just like, well, probably still not going to happen. But of these 5 directors, of the 3 I've seen, yeah, I think Everything Everywhere All at Once is gonna take this one. At least today I do.
I wouldn't hate the Daniels winning. I really enjoyed Everything Everywhere All at Once. Triangle of Sadness is available to rent on Amazon Prime. This is one of the movies that I did not know anything about. When they announced it, I was like, I've never even heard of this. And like you, I have like AMC A list where you can go to the movies 3 times a week. And for a good portion of this year, I was going every single week to the movies where I'm going to all different types of movies. I'm going to see big movies. I'm seeing indie movies. I'm seeing movies that are in IMAX. I'm seeing the ones that are in the small theaters that only have one showtime and I'm telling you, I haven't seen anything of some of these movies, hearing anything about these movies that are nominated for Best Picture, and some that are nominated just for some of these other awards. And Triangle of Sadness, After Sun also I haven't heard of, but Triangle of Sadness I haven't heard of. And when I looked at it on Amazon Prime, it's described as a comedy drama, which I was like, that doesn't seem like an Oscar category, but you know what? We need a little bit more diversity in here. So it's one of those movies where I'm going to watch it. I think it's again another 2.5-hour movie. Not good sign that it's a 2.5-hour movie that I have not heard of, but I'll give it a go. We'll see.
Yeah. I wish I could like substitute one of these names, like maybe Triangle of Sadness, but I don't know what else. I don't know who would be the better director of these 5, honestly. Like, while I just gave a raving review for Till, like, no, the power of that was Danielle Deadweiler's performance. It's otherwise, I don't know what else to say. So, Best Picture, main event, and this year we're getting all 10 slots. For the last decade or so, we've only been like, we might do 6, we might do 10. We're not going to do more than 10, but we might only get 5. And this year we're getting all 10. I think that happened again last year. So, All Quiet on the Western Front. That is available currently on Netflix. Haven't seen it. Avatar: The Way of Water. Beautiful goddamn movie, but it's not a Best Picture by any means. Banshees of Inisherin. Again, disappointed it's not a Japanese role-playing game. Elvis. Beautiful goddamn movie. I don't know if the substance is there. That's one thing I'm like, this should be like an 8-hour Netflix series. As much as is in this movie at over 2.5 hours, more should be in this because this was a complicated character. Everything Everywhere All at Once. The Fablemans. Tar, which again I have not seen. Top Gun Maverick. While I appreciate its practical effects, while I appreciate all the stunts, while it was my favorite movie of the year, I don't know it should be on this list. Triangle of Sadness, again, we have not seen. And then Women Talking, which when I saw the poster for it on Facebook, I thought it was a joke article about from The Onion. Like, yeah, I don't know anything about women talking, but you just said this might be the shortest movie on this list of 10. So I am intrigued to see it now. But we also just had She Said, which was the movie about exposing Harvey Weinstein, no pun intended. And
Mhm.
that was only okay. Like, I shouldn't be
Uh,
basing one movie on
okay.
another, but of those 10, Drew, go.
So like you were saying, Top Gun Maverick, and I think even Avatar, those I think are the blockbuster kind of be like, hey, we know you like these movies, so we'll put them on here, and maybe you'll tune in to see if they'll win. But we all know that they won't, kind of deal. But I like that they at least I like that one got a nod. I think Avatar. I hate to keep on going back over last year and like comparing movies to other movies of this year, but last year I
Do
was
it.
super into the Oscars and I watched like every single movie and I was like into it. But I think Avatar is like this year's Dune, last year's Dune, where it's a very big movie. It's a lovely movie. It's got great CGI. It was nominated for Best Picture, and we all knew that it was just not going to happen, not even close. I love Top Gun Maverick, but like you said, it's not gonna be the one. You know what I was really shocked by when
Hmm.
hearing All Quiet on the Western Front, and when I looked to see where I could watch it, and it told me Netflix. I was like, when? I'm on Netflix multiple times a week, and they put their biggest movies on a banner. They put it on the banner. They even play the movie before you can scroll past it.
Oh
And
fuck
they
yeah, I hate
said
that shit.
nothing about this movie, like nothing. I don't know if it's my preferences. They didn't think I would like it or want to watch it. But when I saw that it could be watched on Netflix and it was a Netflix movie, my jaw dropped. I was like, way to go, Netflix, for really putting it out there saying, hey, watch this movie. It's going to be nominated for an Oscar or it's not been nominated for awards. I haven't seen it. I don't know why I haven't seen anything for it, but it took me by surprise. I have tickets to see Women Talking coming up this Tuesday, which I'm very excited to see. It's an hour and 44 minutes. And I got to hear the writer and lead actress talk in the Hollywood Reporter roundtables. And everything they said about it, I was like, got me super intrigued to see the movie. Of course, I would love to see Everything Everywhere All at Once just have a huge upset. I don't know if it's an upset if it wins because I think it is really, really good, but I just don't know if it's gonna win. I don't think Elvis should win. My gut when I first saw this and hearing everybody talk about how they love Banshees, for some reason my gut thought that Banshees was like the front runner for this award. But maybe else will happen, and maybe Everything Everywhere All at Once could really pull off an upset here. But we'll see.
I also think Everything Everywhere All at Once of these 10 should win. And again, I haven't seen everything, so maybe in 5 weeks I'll be like, dude, Tar. Tar, it's all about Tar, bro. Kate Blanchett and Tar. It's all gonna be Tar. All right. Or women talking. Like all of a sudden I become like I find my inner feminist and like, yo, women talking. Like, have you seen how these women have been oppressed? One woman's out of the closet, one woman got pregnant, one woman got her butt touched. Like women talking. Go. But it's yeah, I think Everything Everywhere All at Once is gonna take this. That's my knee-jerk reaction. But yeah, the Fablemans, Hollywood likes movies about Hollywood, but the last couple of years, the Hollywood movies haven't been making it. Like I remember declaring, like, yeah, that movie about Orson Welles, that's gonna steal it. No one gave a shit. Like the movie literally ended with Orson Welles holding the Oscar and like, I dare you not to give me this. And they were like, yeah, all right, we're not gonna give it to you.
So thinking back to what happened last year, because wasn't last year Coda won for Apple TV?
Mhm.
And then for some reason, with Green Book winning
Mhm.
way back when, that's also been in my mind as like that one because I think it was more the safe route that people just liked it because they liked it, or it scored the average of like the highest average out of everything because everybody was just like, yeah, it's fine. We'll just mark it as a 3, and somehow it got enough 3s to be put up on the top, which I'm trying to guess now, what is the quote unquote safest route? If we have 5,000 people voting, we can't have anything that is so divisive win these, to where, thinking about it that way, I think that there could be a way for maybe Everything Everywhere All at Once, because it was so highly liked by critics and even the audiences, which is really difficult, especially with a movie that niche, to be able to bridge the gap between the two audiences. I think it could hold a really strong chance of winning, possibly. Maybe The Fablemans, because it does have that, like, I don't know, happy ending at the end of it, and it also is about Hollywood and everything. And it almost makes me feel like, and I know I'm gonna sound crazy and it's gonna be a reach, but like Top Gun Maverick is an like audience
It's a crowd
getter. It's a
pleaser.
big blockbuster. Is a crowd pleaser. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. It's a crowd pleaser. And I mean, I know there's going to be a lot of the 5,000 people that are going to be like, yeah, but that's not Oscar worthy. It's not that. It's not pristine movie making. But how many could it score a 2? Could it score a 3? Could it do like a Green Book where it scores the best average, where everything else is kind of either on one side or the other, where it drops everything down? And Top Gun, who is the safe, quote unquote, safe one that everybody just kind of likes, and likes it over, say, a Triangle of Sadness, a Tar, which can, to me, what I've heard from Tar, it can be a little bit of either you love it or you hate it kind of vibe. So I don't know. I think that this could be very interesting. Maybe there's a way that Elvis can possibly get in. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out, like, how can we try to predict this by trying to, like, not predict it by what movie should win, but what possibly how the voting could be? Because it seems like nobody really thought Coda could do it until it got really close to the end and everybody was like, oh crap, I think Coda could actually pull this off. Or like Parasite pulled it off, and not really anybody thought, because it was an international film. And no international films won an Oscar for Best Picture ever until Parasite. So I don't know. I think it's interesting now that I'm thinking about it, that maybe there is a real big shot that Everything Everywhere All at Once could win, maybe even Top Gun. If neither one wins, then we're gonna bury this footage, bury this audio. I never said anything about it, but if it does happen, I'll clip it and say it forever. I did it on January 26th, 2 months before the Oscars.
So I have to go back last year and look at who won. I forget, but yeah, when Coda won, it was a surprise to me. I don't remember who I was looking forward to, but when like Green Book won, I remember leaving the screening of Green Book going, "That was a delightful goddamn movie," but I didn't think it was going to win. But when it did win, I'm like, "Oh my god!" But then all of a sudden, like, became this huge thing, controversy, and Mahershala Ali is on stage just frowning like a motherfucker. He's like, I hate that I'm up here winning this award for the work I did. Like a lot of white savior talk got involved, and it was like, but no, it doesn't matter what I have to say at this point, because that's all everyone wants to talk about. So when we're talking about safe stuff, I think Elvis is the prettiest movie out of all of these 10, at least of the 6 I've seen. But Everything Everywhere All at Once, like, people are still talking about that. And then Top Gun, yeah, that might actually be the safest. I don't know what to think yet. I still need to see the other 4 films, and that's what we'll do. So 95th Academy Awards coming out March 12th. It's going to be on ABC, as it has been, and Jimmy Kimmel is back. Do we have an opinion on Jimmy Kimmel? Like, I like the dude, but what are your thoughts?
Just, I don't know. It's unoriginal, in my opinion. It's fine. I'm kind of over the talk show host, but at this point, they're trying to go for as safe route as possible. They know he's a good MC. He can make fun. If something weird happens, he can think on his feet. It's just, I think, uninspired and unoriginal, and it's fine.
That's fair. That is fair. I think Jimmy Kimmel's going to do fine. I've enjoyed the past two
Yeah.
Oscars he was a part of. I'm still holding a grudge with the Academy and the TV network for not letting Kevin Hart host the thing because, well, he made it probably an inappropriate tweet. He was still a comedian, and Jimmy Kimmel, also a comedian. And guess what? Kevin Hart's tweet was like 3 years prior, but Jimmy Kimmel, and while I laughed my ass off, did blackface 20 years before that. And it's just like, oh, you guys are just making this shit up as you go along. Like one is definitely worse than the other, and go fuck all yourselves. So I think Jimmy Kimmel's going to be fine. Last year they tried to go like, we're not going to have hosts, or maybe that was the year before, and then like, well, now we're going to have 3 hosts, and it's still the same show. So I don't know what else to say, but
Yeah, I almost feel like I almost like the no host vibe. Just have a ton of people just all introducing and just going for it instead of just one person just talking the whole night. But I agree with you with the whole like, I mean, Jimmy Kimmel has been on TV for years, and I guess just the exposure of how much he has been in our faces and then the recency of what he's done on his talk show just wipes out everything that he's done in his past, even though he has a lot of questionable and problematic things that he's done in his past as well. So everybody picks and chooses what they want to do and what they want to show. And yeah, I think that's another thing why nobody wants to do it as much. I mean, with 3 people, it's different than having one person where then everybody just like, you can get exposed. It's like being on Big Brother nowadays. Like if you're on Big Brother, everybody goes through all of your tweets, all of your social media posts. And if you have anything hiding in your closet, it's getting exposed, and you won't know until like 2 months after you're out of the house that you are public enemy number 1 and everybody hates you. So
I forget if last year we were supposed to have no hosts or the 3 hosts that we did. But the year before that, COVID was still a huge thing, and we did it in the train station. And while we had no host, we still had Regina King come in. And while she was great, she didn't do anything different than what Jimmy Kimmel was going to do. She came out, she had a monologue, she made a speech, and then she disappeared for an hour. But then she came back, and you're just like, and now here's this other person that's going to say some stuff. And then she disappeared again for another hour. And that's all the Academy Awards host has done year after year after year after year. I don't know. Let's not get too political, as I always say. But yeah, man, it's this is our initial knee-jerk reaction. Drew, is there anything else you want to add to this? Like someone get snubbed? Is someone missing? Would you have preferred someone else, etc., etc.?
I said something about Jordan Peele. I brought him up earlier, and I think he was a huge snub in cinematography. Yeah, so no, he didn't get any. Nope, did not get any nominations for at least cinematography, which that movie is beautiful. Say what you will about the plot or the acting, whatever. That cinematography was beautiful, and it should have gotten at least a nomination, in my opinion. But it is what it is.
All right. Personally speaking, I'm the only snub I mentioned already. So yeah, that's about it. Drew, anything you want to plug in the near future here?
Nothing so much. I mean, my YouTube channel at youtube.com/angelcakevids. And I'm over there talking about reality TV and the challenge.
Well, folks, before the weekend of March 12th, Drew and I will return and talk about part 2, and we will have seen more, and we will talk about more, and maybe our opinions will have changed just a little bit, if not a lot more. But this weekend, me and a friend of the family, Mike Fish from the Waffle Box Pod, we're going to be talking about the WWE Royal Rumble, which is happening on a Saturday, which is kind of weird, but it is what it is. So we'll have thoughts and reactions about that. Otherwise, like I said, the Waffle Box, the original Waffle Box, you will accept no substitutions because it is the best part of Wednesdays. And you can find that on YouTube at Waffle Box Pod. Otherwise, check us out on the Bosnet.family under Waffle Box. But otherwise, This has been a fantastic episode, Drew. Thank you for being a part of it. I can't wait to talk to you in another 5 weeks when we know a little bit more about what we think. So, for Drew Angelman, I've been Kush Hayes. You've been you.
Microdose, 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 yeah, microdose.
From the Bosnet family.
One woman's out of the closet. One woman got pregnant. One woman got her butt touched.